Yeah, I think it's streaming now.
Okay, cool.
So we can start.
Sure.
Would you introduce yourself and the role you play in the band?
Hello, everybody. I am Bryce Smith. I play guitar, one of the guitarists in the band Rival Town. We're a pop punk band from St. Catharines, Ontario.
How did the band begin?
How did the band begin? Classic. About 6 years ago, 5.5, somewhere around there. It feels like we've been together for a while now. Um, Originally, most of us were living in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and we were all sort of guys in the scene there, which is a fairly small city. So the scene is a little tight knit. Everyone kind of knows each other. We were all in our mid-20s, and we were kind of just, you know, just feeling like it. We kind of wanted to make one last go of trying to grind it out playing music, trying to take it a little bit more seriously. So I sort of met some guys through some cover shows up there where we would do a cover show a few times a year where you get a group of guys together and then a bunch of bands would just perform cover sets of other bands. And I linked up with a couple of guys and it ended up just sort of making a friendship out of it. And then later on, I was sort of writing songs on my own, sort of a side project, and I ended up just bringing along the rest of the crew, and we formed, and we sort of just came out swinging, and have been going strong ever since.
Cool. How did you get the name?
Rival Town was, well, what we used to do at our old rehearsal space back when we first started was we had a like a whiteboard in the room, and we were kind of throwing around band ideas, and basically anytime someone had something they would just go up and write it on the whiteboard. And I think the top three came down to High Score, uh Runner Up, and Rival Town were like the three that we were kind of throwing around. And Rival Town just sort of felt like us. Yeah, I think a lot of people at the time, sports band names were kind of cool, like Modern Baseball, and all these bands were sort of blowing up. So we were like, all right, let's kind of hop on the sports band name trend. And then people, it's we passed the Google check. If you Google it, we're the only ones you can find. So that's how we kind of based our success off of that.
What got you into music?
Got me into music when I was like, I've always been into music, I guess, but what made me want to like start playing guitar and all that stuff, I think when I was like 12 or 13, um, back when Much Music was still a thing. I mean, that was like, the coolest channel in the world for teenagers, and skateboarding, and we were doing all that Tony Hawk stuff, and basically just hearing all that music in those video games and seeing all the cool music videos on TV. I just thought, man, that'd be so cool to do. So I started playing guitar around 13 or 14, and then started off an old acoustic my grandfather had given me at the time. Sort of got a little bit better. My folks helped me get my first guitar, and then I've been sort of playing ever since. It dumped a lot of money into it, and I've been just trying to, live the dream, keep rocking.
Okay. So I guess my friend Aaron finally got his laptop working.
Oh, okay, cool, man. I'll be right back, dude.
Okay. I guess there was an issue with his laptop again.
Oh no.
How has the pandemic affected you musically and creatively
Um,
as
me,
an individual?
I was an individual.
Yeah.
I mean, I originally, before the pandemic happened, I mean, the guys and I were, we had just released an album, so we were sort of preparing for the tour circuit of that. And basically, that was an entire write off. So, I mean, we can't really tour a record that we dropped 2 years ago now. So, I kind of had to start over and sort of come up with creative ways to try and stay relevant in the scene. So we started just dropping singles. I kind of wanted to rewrite our sound a little bit at the time. A couple of years ago, we were focused more on a little bit heavier vibes, I guess. And I kind of wanted to try moving a little bit in a poppier direction. Not so much pop music, but definitely more hook s. So I spent a lot of time writing music through 2020 for sure, just sort of sitting down. I'm the primary songwriter lately. And Yeah, just trying to kind of come up with stuff that I thought would be cool for if bands that I listened to dropped it. That's sort of how I started writing. If I heard another band play a song like this, I'd be like, yeah. So I was sort of just trying to write the catchiest shit I could. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, sorry. But Yeah, just trying to get creative. And then once 2021 hit, we were not sure, what's happening. Can we play shows? Can we everything's up in the air. So we started getting hopping on TikTok is what the band was doing, and we were pushing ourselves through that a lot, and it actually gave us some pretty cool opportunities over the year. We've met some cool contacts. We got a lot of love from people, sold a ton of merch on there. Um, yeah, and then basically just kind of I run a couple of secret accounts on TikTok for comedy, and a couple of them have like really blown up. So I've just been staying creative, just trying to think of ways to stay sane until I can kind of get back to doing what I love, and that's just playing
Right.
music live.
Uh, any advice for starting a band or a music career?
Um, yeah, maybe. Yeah, it depends on what you want. I tell people to ask themselves what they want from music first, and then make a plan around that. So like if you're just looking to play a couple of shows every few months, just hang out with your friends, you get some guys together and craft your songs until you can play them in your sleep, and then hook up with some promoters around town and try and get out there and grind. But if you're looking to really take it seriously, you got to run it like a business. You got to make sure your boys are contributing, or whoever's in your band are contributing financially. Always keep merchandise coming out. Always dropping new content. You got to stay relevant in the scene. It's not really in the olden days. You could drop an album once every few years and survive off of that. Nowadays, there's so much social media. I think that bands need to look for ways to get through the crowd. And I mean, social media is your biggest tool, but it's just a matter of being creative while doing it. And I see a lot of bands that have stepped it up over the pandemic and just came up with really neat ways to keep people focused on them. Because now there's so much content coming out through every form of social media that you only have, a couple of weeks of relevance whenever you drop a new release. So you gotta find ways to push that to people's attention and make people interested in you.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only advice I have. Just like be creative and have a solid plan, and ask yourself what you want from being a musician. Do you want to go the distance, or do you want to just have fun? Because a lot of people, if you're just trying to have fun, man, just write some cool songs and go out and perform them.
And do you have any advice for somebody that might not be able to handle long periods of isolation well? Uh, this was a question that we asked back when there were lockdowns, so
Man,
it could still be
oh,
relevant
yeah,
now.
I don't handle isolation well. I started taking up just stupid hobbies once the pandemic hit. Like a lot of people, I started fishing like crazy. I haven't fished in like 15 years, and I just went out and bought a pole one day, and I started fishing like every day. I was just buying ridiculous stuff. I was fixing up my house. My fiance and I were doing a lot of just home, renovations and just trying to stay creative and stay sane. You can only sit and watch Netflix and cook and eat so much before you just start losing it. So I mean, we just forced ourselves out of the house in a safe way as much as we could, and just tried to go out and go on hikes and just get fresh air, and always try and have something to look forward to. Like even if it's something little, I think that's the best thing you can do is try and come up with something to look forward to instead of just waiting idly for nothing. That's kind of our that's what got us through it so far.
So this next question is kind of tied into that. How has the pandemic affected your mental health?
It comes and goes as far as the positive aspect. Like sometimes when Doug Ford comes out and delivers the bad news, I'm like everybody else. I get pretty miserable for a few days, but there's really, I guess you just got to always kind of remember that you're not alone going through it. Is that everybody is literally dealing with the same thing, and there's always somebody out there has a lot worse than you. So I mean, like as bad as we might have it because we're stuck at home or we're work isn't the same as it used to be, or whatever it might be, you're not strapped into a hospital bed right now not being able to breathe. So count your blessings and keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Yeah. Do you still practice your guitar or I guess sing alone at home?
I'm not much of a singer. I can sing enough to get the melody out so my singer understands what I'm thinking. Our lead singer Mike, he's just a whiz guy. You can sit with him and pitch it to him. Like what I usually do is I'll track a demo at home. I'll sing it so terribly, and I'll just record myself sending it to him. It sounds nothing like how I want it to sound, but he always hears it. He'll send back a version of him singing it, and it's usually exactly what I envisioned. So I mean, we're kind of locked in there, and I do practice a fair bit. Always trying to get a little bit better. I'm not an amazing guitarist, but I'm confident rhythm player. I'll swap it. I'll play lead every now and then, but I I've been playing with the same guys so long now that we're all pretty locked in with each other. So I mean, I can sit down with any of the guys and play pretty tight with them. But yeah, I do practice a fair bit, a couple hours a week maybe. Nothing too crazy.
What is your current favorite song to play and or listen to?
Current favorite song to play live for our music. What's my favorite? We got a song called Bridges that we dropped with an album a couple of years ago. And it's not even that it's my favorite song, it's just my favorite to play. Like it just has an energy around it where it's like when that opening riff kicks in, you tell people, when we jump, you jump, and everyone just goes nuts with it. So it's a very bouncy song, and it's got a lot of elements in it that people vibe with. And as far as my favorite song to listen to right now, I don't even know, honestly. I've been on a weird 80s kick lately, going back to a lot of like I've been in this like female power ballad 80s kick lately. I don't know why, like in my car, that's what I've been putting on lately. Just going into like pretty much anything that you would hear in the Goonies soundtrack, I've been listening to in my car and just rocking out to it. I don't know why lately. It's just something I've been into. But no, my music tastes change every week. Whatever, it's the favorite song of the week usually, or the favorite band.
I think you might have answered this before in one of the previous questions. What are you doing to keep yourself motivated and to not give up?
There's definitely times where we all thought, shit, like is this even worth it anymore? We're all in our 30s now. Just a couple of us are, moving on to the next chapter of our lives. I'm getting married in just over a month here. A lot of our guys are moving around, getting proposed, doing all kinds of cool stuff. And we've asked ourselves a few times, like, do we still care as much? And I think that now we're not so much trying to make it as we were back in the beginning. Now we're just like, we're writing music that we're stoked on, and we're having fun. We just don't. We're too old now to be sitting there festering over whether or not, we deserve to be where we are or what we're doing. So we just try to just write stuff that we know we have fun playing, and if the crowd resonates with that, then that's all we can really ask for. If some big record label hits us up one day, that's a bonus. But right now, we're just trying to have fun and play music that we're proud of.
What kind of gear do you use?
Gear for me, I'm a bit of a purist. I tried doing a lot of the modeling rigs during the pandemic. I used to have my favorite amp in the world, which I promised myself I'd never sell. I sold it like an idiot. Like, I was bored, and then now I sit there and wish every day that it would fall back into my lap. But right now I play an 82 JCM 800 head through an orange cab, and I've always played Telecasters, so I'm a Tele guy. And I usually mod out my Telecasters for I put humbuckers in them, give them. I want my Teles to sound like a Les Paul, but I love the feel of a Tele, so I sort of kind of, that's been my main rig. I always like to keep an amp with usually one channel, because I don't switch channels. I don't switch between clean and dirty. I just roll off on my volume knob, and a tuner and my wireless rig, and that's it. I don't stick around with like all the pedals and all that stuff. I just, mainly because when we're playing on the road, right, I just want the least amount of headache as possible during load in and setup. Because sometimes you're playing with 4 or 5 other bands, and you got 10 minutes to change over. We're a 6-piece, so we got a huge back line. So I want to be able to get everybody on stage and going in less than like 5 minutes. So we try and keep our rigs pretty simple these days.
What would you like to see happen after the pandemic to help you out musically?
I don't know. I just want to make sure that I know a lot of people are still hesitant about going to shows again. So I'm just hoping that once we do a few runs here, and just kind of people start coming back out, feeling a little bit safer at shows, and just having a good time and being social again. As for helping us, I mean, right now we're on a smaller independent label. I mean, the more money, the better, obviously. So, I mean, obviously, if one day we can get picked up by one of the big dogs, that would be cool. It's get us with a producer and stuff like that. Right now, we self-produce and record everything, and we just have somebody outsource our mixing. And then, so yeah, it would be cool to sit with a producer to help us write a record or an EP one day, and that would just to see what happens. We've been doing it ourselves so long. We would just be cool to hear a fresh ear sometime.
What is marketing and promoting Rival Town's music like?
A lot of social media, man. We like TikTok is a big one for us. Facebook's kind of dying out, so we don't really focus on that too much anymore. Instagram's still big, but it's just a matter of, there's 6 of us, so it helps, and we have a decent team of people that kind of we've been working with over the years that help push us. A lot of our videographers team has a good pull. Our record label helps with a lot of stuff. It's just a matter of just trying to stay consecutive and release something every couple of months, and just stay in people's eyes, right? It's just a matter of, if we get idle for too long, then you fizzle out, and then people forget about you. So we just try and always keep content consistently going.
What are the band influences?
Our band is we sort of do a hot and cold thing, where we do a lot of like heavy stuff in our set, but while still maintaining a poppy. Sorry, I'm just put something on the barbecue here. We try and we want, basically at our show, we want you to have a good time. So we have
our set designed to make you feel a certain way. The first half of the set is really hyped up, lots of energy, jumping around, the whole thing. And then by the end, we try and throw in our feely songs, so you leave going, "Woo, that band touched my soul." And so we try and just write songs in a way that we can translate that energy we feel writing them to a live scenario as well, because those are the types of bands we listen to. You know, that sort of A Day to Remember is a big influence of ours, obviously. Bands like The Wonder Years, Knuckle Puck, lots of like heavy but still melodic bands that we mess with. And then a lot of the standard pop punk things, you know, people remember growing up. But lots of those
a lot of heavy bands and a lot of like poppy bands, and we try and mash it all into one thing.
Has the pandemic inspired some new creative ways or ideas for how the band produces tracks?
So myself and our singer are we both went to school for audio engineering, so we both do a lot of the recording. We do all the recording actually. So he'll how it usually works is I will track all the guitars and basses and keys usually, and he handles drums and vocals. And we sort of like split it between the two studios. And then once we have everything edited and cleaned up, sounding the way we want it, then we'll send it off usually to somebody that we respect in the mixing industry. And they'll lately it's been the lead singer of Boys of Fall, Mike Martinson, who's been mixing our last few singles. And he's kind of got our sound figured out. So we try and, just sort of hammer out this sort of three-way party of recording and mixing. And that's usually how our songs come out.
How was the writing, recording process different for Framework compared to previously released songs?
Well, Framework was actually I didn't think it was actually going to come out. I wrote that last summer in 2020. I was just trying to write something a little softer than our usual stuff. I was just kind of wanting to vibe with something. We never really dropped a song like that. So I was like, let's see what happens if we try something that's got a little bit more of a mellow vibe. So we recorded a demo last summer, and then we just forgot about it. And then this spring came around, and we were just going through a bunch of old demos, and that one came back through the list, and we're like, oh, that song was actually kind of cool. Let's sit with it. So then we reworked it a little bit. We laid it down, and we sent it off. And I like that song just because it starts off not how you'd expect a Rival Town song to start off, and then as the chorus kicks in, it just punches you, right? So that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted people to we didn't want to stray too far from what we do, but we wanted to change it up a little bit, let people know we're capable of other stuff too.
What was the experience like filming the music video for the song compared to previous music videos?
A lot more blood and a lot more guts in this video. We've been, it's hard. We've done a lot of music videos over the years, so it's always just hard trying to come up with a concept. And I thought, I'm a huge horror movie fan, so I thought it would be kind of neat to see a horror movie, but we're like, what would be funny is if we did a horror movie and a chick flick mashed into one thing, because the song itself is very romantic, and if you watch the video, it's actually romantic as well. It just happens to be sort of a Bonnie and Clyde type thing where it's two very in love people are just off on a killing spree. There was no real deep meaning to this one, but we just thought, hey, that's funny. Let's get a serial killer and a very pretty girl to just sort of be off on a date, and their date consists of getting ice cream and killing a guy in the woods. So we just thought it would be funny.
How is Framework lyrically or thematically different than previous work?
This is our first love song. We've never done all our other stuff is usually pretty pretty depressing. We write a lot of sad boy stuff, but yeah, Framework was our first attempt at a love song. We've had people ask over the years, why don't you guys write any love songs? And we said, oh, it's never really been inspired to. And we just thought, hey, why not? That song I wrote about my fiance. And it's actually about, we went on a trip a few years ago to the Dominican. And I was trying to think of a scenario where I was like, what's a very easy thing to picture? And she was on the beach a lot, and I'm a really pale skinned dude, so I kind of hide in the shade. And I was just watching her, frolicking in the waves, and I thought it was like, oh, this is a nice scenario to write lyrics to. It's very easy for the words to come out. So I was just kind of using that, like the beach element, as a lot of the metaphors in the song. And then if you like in context, when you listen to it, it's sort of like a girl putting a guy back together, and him just realizing like, wow, he's really lucky. And that's sort of how that one came together.
Were there any horror movies that influenced the music video?
Not so much, like mostly slashers, but like the video, we're trying to come up with a slasher, like a killer. And I was like, how do we come up with a killer? And that guy in that one is heavily inspired by this movie called Hellfest. And if you look up their killer, it's pretty much, we just ripped that off. But it's like just a generic white mask, and that's kind of it. We didn't want to get sued, so we're like, we'll just kind of come up with something very generic that could be, just the standard killer guy. So yeah, we just we bought a mask, and Mike's girlfriend is a makeup special effects artist, so she's the one who designed all our bloody stuff and our mask designs and everything, and she's very very talented at that, so she kind of handled all the blood and the guts of the video.
Are there any current plans to release more music or even acoustic versions of previous tracks?
We've done the acoustic thing a couple of times with songs, and they never really get the same love. So I mean, we do it sometimes if we just need to put something out, but we do have another single we're sitting on right now that I think we're going to be dropping in like November, and it's very it's huge sounding. Like, yeah, it's got a killer hook. I think people are gonna dig it. It's like designed to get people moving at a show for sure. Yeah, I think that's coming out in like November. I can't be certain, but it'll be like late November, early December for sure.
Okay. Any new video content coming out?
We're always kind of trying to come up with funny video content. I mean, right now we're just pushing ourselves on TikTok, and like I said, I run a joke account. I don't know if you guys have seen. There's a video going around the internet right now. It's like a dude on a roller coaster, and he's farting going down the roller coaster, and like it got like 50 million views on TikTok. That was me that did that video, and it just blew up. And I've been sort of using some of that viral stuff to push it towards the band. So if people think I have a couple 100,000 followers on this TikTok account, so I've just been telling people like, hey, while you're here watching stupid content, why don't you go check out my band too? So that's sort of what we've been doing, just trying to come up with funny ways to get people to maybe look at our band while they're laughing.
What are your thoughts on online performances?
If you got the budget and it sounds and looks cool, man, why not? We wanted to do it, but it's just a matter of finding the right room and dealing with all the audio and stuff. We definitely talked about it, but it's not the same. Like, it's hard to rock out to an empty room. Like, I'd rather wait and do the real thing.
Yeah. What do you miss most about performing at shows?
Just the energy, just the feeling of like connection with people. When you're playing a really good show and the vibes there, like every band is just getting an awesome response, and it feels, there's nothing like it, man. You just feel like a connection to the room with everybody, and the vibes are just super happy. Everyone is just feeling so good to be there, and I miss that a lot. So that's kind of what we're waiting to get back to.
if you can talk about it, what are the logistics behind local tours?
Logistics. I mean, for us, it's just a matter of when we first moved here, we didn't know anybody. It was hard to book shows and get people to let us play. We moved down here in 2016, so now we've sort of built a core fan base in Southern Ontario. So it's just a matter of calling up the right guys and booking a show, and we'll try and do it. We used to do it like we go away for a couple of weeks through Ontario, but now we save it and just do, we call them weekenders, where we'll split it up like 3 weekends of shows and just keep people coming out. So yeah, it's a lot easier than doing our States tours. We prefer playing in the States, honestly, but you know, there's nothing like a hometown show. So either or, we're logistically, we just load up the trailer and go, man. Nothing too crazy about the local shows.
What venues would you like to play at in the future?
I'd love to get back into a couple of venues in the States. We've played lots, and we love, like, Brooklyn's always been very good to us. Love to play Pittsburgh. We were supposed to play there last summer before all this happened. Chicago is another city we'd love to get into at some point. Big pop punk scene there. Pittsburgh and Chicago. We'd love to get down to Florida. We got a pretty decent fan base out there. And those are kind of some of the hot markets we'd like to hit.
What are some ways people can support you while they are at home?
Just stream our stuff on Spotify like crazy, man, and keep watching our videos. If you see some merch you like, head over to our website, rattletownband.com. We will order merch. It keeps our pockets lined so we can get on the road. That's it. It's just a matter of a lot of bands, like we're all it's a lot of guys that are all working kind of shitty jobs just to sort of support their passion. So I mean, once the bills are paid, we're not left with a lot. So we try and make sure that we're pushing content out to you. So just buying our merch and streaming our music really helps a lot.
Do you have any merch that you might want to showcase here?
I don't have any with me right now. Wait, no, I might. Just 1 second. Look here quick. It is an older shirt. We just dropped this one here. I'll pull it up. It's a pink t-shirt. There's like a Reaper on the back, and it's a shirt for our song Swear Jar. We're finally going to be having that out at shows. We got tank tops and versions of that. We got lots of merch. We've always been a band that brings way too much merch to shows. And if you dig it, come grab them. We got them on hoodies. We got them on hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops. We got a little bit of everything, man. We're gonna get shorts pretty soon and a couple other things. So all the merch is available at every show, and online. If you order it, we'll ship it out right away.
Are there any other bands or acts that you'd recommend people check out?
Always, man. A lot of the bands we're playing with this, we got a run coming up next weekend. Check out new band in town called Play Fight. They're kind of like an easycore pop punk sort of band. They're like a super group of a bunch of other local bands. We got our homies in Roderick, which are they're all from Yonkers, New York. They used to be another band called the Ever After. This is sort of more of like an emo post-hardcore project. They're coming all the way up from Yonkers to play these shows with us. Definitely give them a spin. And then our homies, my favorites are the guys in the Downcast. They're a Toronto band, like just riff central, the catchiest, like crazy riffs you've ever heard. And we love playing with them. They're always good to us. So definitely give them a spin as well.
Where can people find the band on social media?
We're on everything. We got TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, just a regular website. We have Apple Music, Spotify. just the best place to start is just a good old fashioned Google search. Just Google Rival Town, and you'll find us. We're all over YouTube. We got all the social media.
Anything you'd like to add before we go?
Yeah, just if you're bored and you're looking for something to do this weekend, if you're an Ontario local, come on out to a show. We're going to be playing in Toronto this coming Friday night at Sneaky D's. Then we're playing Barrie, Ontario at Ascension Lounge, which I don't know where that is. We used to play another venue there called the Fox a lot. And then on Sunday night in Hamilton, we're playing Club Absinthe, which is a great big room. So it'd be great to have everybody come out and get weird with us. We're bringing a crazy show. The whole lights. We do a big light show, smoke, confetti, the whole thing. So come on out and let's have a good time like the old days.
Okay. I think that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining me on this.
No, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure, and it was cool talking to you.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Maybe we could work together sometime in the future again.
Absolutely. I'll send you our new single when it drops, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.